俺と同じ顔、同じ声。何なんだ、何が起きてるんだ。
Don't trust anyone, not even yourself, the animation. So this anime's got some weird mixtures in it. Like last week I was talking about all the different anime and video games it reminded me of. And then this week it went full on Matrix on us. It was crazy. And we found out that it's not just Toru who has a shadow clone in the other world. They all do. Every single person. So this is a really weird one, but I'm enjoying it. And a lot of people are hating on the animation. I can see why. There's a lot of quality when it comes to this one. But the animation when they're flipping around through the air and shooting guns at each other, I'm enjoying that. So, spoiler flag up, and let's jump straight into this. So we had Toru defending himself from another version of himself, who looks a lot more badass with this cool long hair. And the awesome long white robe and double guns. He's just completely outmatched, let's be honest here. And at the same time, another weird person showed up in the other world who can use telekinesis and was chucking rocks at the evil version of Toru. So that was pretty weird. Like, we'd seen people running around using mecha suits and guns, but now there's also telekinesis in this other world. It's getting very odd. And they don't seem to be explaining too much as they go along. But what they have explained is that there are a group of aliens or other sentient forms of life that came to Earth and left a message saying to them, everyone's gonna die within a certain time limit. The aliens let them know a bunch of times that every person on Earth was gonna die. And so far, every time that's come up, a person has in fact turned into sand. And known as the desert syndrome, where people just disappear and turn into sand. And you're gonna have to fight people from another universe to ensure that you survive. We're going to give the ability for you to survive, but only to one of the two universes. And so they gave them both powers to make their weapons stronger. And then they also gave them instructions how to make a device to travel and meet each other. And then they basically said, hey, go ahead and kill each other. So, not very nice aliens. The characters themselves are even suggesting, oh, what if these aliens are just doing this to us on purpose? And they basically said, well, yeah, they could be, but what are we supposed to do about it? They have the ability to kill us at any point. So at the end of the day, this anime is very self-aware of its own flaws. And it just goes ahead and jokes about them and moves on. And I mean, it's taking inspiration from all kinds of other sources. Like, they go into an elevator and the one kid who we hadn't met before is talking to what he calls an operator. And saying, oh, we're ready to come out. So they go into the elevator and they get shot back into the real world while all this electric-y, glowy stuff is happening around them. And that just felt so much like the Matrix. Like when they had to get to a payphone and call Tank and say, Tank, I need an out. That kind of thing. And it was written by Gen Urobuchi, the Urobuchi himself, who's written Fate Zero and Gargantua on the Veranda's Planet and Mahou Shoujo Madoka. So he's a damn good writer, so I'm sure he's got something more coming from this. We were also told what the other world they meet in is. The two different universes both go back in time to 2015 Tokyo, so Tokyo of today. And that's where they have all their fights. And it's not very well explained how they're going back to Tokyo. I mean, they say they're using a time machine, but at the same time, when they go back, when they touch people from the time, they kind of waver but don't feel anything. And yet, all of the buildings and everything are getting blown up. So it's weird as to whether they're able to interact with the people of Tokyo in the past or not. I mean, if they were, it would create a bunch of multiverses and confuse everything because they'd be changing time every time they went back. So I don't know what's really going on with that. Maybe they're just going back to a computer-generated Tokyo. They've not really explained it too well. So our protagonist Toru has now decided to fight for no major reason. Like, his decision to fight was pretty obviously coming, and they didn't really explain why it happened. I mean, while he was in the past, he saw the girl that he thinks is his little sister again, and she was talking about the future, rather than the present. So clearly she must come from Tokyo 2015 as well, which adds a little bit of depth and confusion to everything. So I don't really know what's going on in this anime quite yet. I could theorize, but most of them will probably be wrong because it's gone so insane as it is already. One thing that I suggest is that maybe the real world is the 2015 Tokyo, and maybe all of the characters from the future are actually in some sort of computer program. That's the only thing I can guess, because it's feeling very Matrixy now. And so maybe it's going to break the fourth wall kind of thing and say that there are people playing a video game and there's a good version and bad version of them, because obviously you can have more than one person playing the same character, and that's how they're fighting each other. And so these characters that think they're in the future are actually just in a video game, and when they go back to the past, that's players making them go back to the past and fight each other and play the game. And maybe in the real world of 2015 Tokyo, there's a real Toru and Kyoka and all the other characters. But I don't know. Could be anything. Literally very unable to tell right now. The plot is so insane. But I mean, it is fun to watch. As I said, if you could see an evil version of yourself trying to shoot you and you can go flipping through the air and firing guns at them too, that's a pretty fun thing. It's a lot of fun. It's either going to be stupid or brilliant, I don't know. Right now it's stupid, but knowing Urabuchi, it could turn out to have all made sense, and he can actually give a good plot that would join this all together and just be amazing. So we'll see what happens. I'm still going to keep watching this show, despite everyone hating on it. I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10. It really wasn't great, but the fight scene at the beginning was amazing, and I mean, most episode 2s are pretty boring anyway because they set up the plot for the future episodes. So yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Leave a comment to let me know if you have any idea what might be going on in this anime. And like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.